Rev up! Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That's Anderson. I'm Bryan Bishop, your host. Top 5 movies we changed our minds about. Good topic. We got Avery to thank for this. Finally, pulling his weight around here.
Produce.
It's about
How about
time.
that?
It's about time.
Produce a top 5 topic. Where'd you come up with this? I think we
I
talked
don't know,
about
it just
this
seemed
already,
like
but-
I was just kind of kicking around ideas, and it seemed like a fun one that you could kind of get creative with, dig deep. Wasn't just sitting right there. You had to think about it. And I
Probably
was-
not any crossover. I'd be very shocked.
Yeah, and I was curious. It's a very personal list, so I was curious. I feel like to me, those are always, as a listener, my favorite topics,
Okay.
where you bring a story to it, you've got some sort of personal stake in it, and no crossover.
All right, here we go.
As I stated on the Flick Fashion episode, mine are all negative to positive. All right, so I didn't like them at first, much like
Interesting.
some of my favorite songs, some of my favorite people. Most of my favorite people, I hated them at first. Not you, Bryan.
Oh.
I still,
I thought they were leading into a nice compliment.
I really disliked you at first now, and now I just, I'm Luke.
You barely tolerate it. You begrudgingly put up the...
I find you mildly amusing from time to time. No, and comedies are kind of a cheat because a lot of the time, the first time you see a comedy, it's not going to hit you the right way because you don't
True.
trust the characters. Like you think of a good sitcom, and like the first few
Sure.
episodes you ever saw, you don't know them, so
No,
you're not
true.
ready
Totally.
to laugh with
There are
them.
plenty of comedies in my top, loved comedies of all time. The first time I saw them, I didn't like them.
Yeah,
Or
Also-
or mildly, it was like, all right, that was okay.
but then it's funnier the second time. Just like a song, which is like you don't think you like it, it's not really good, but then somehow it kind of gets in your head a little bit. You listen to it again, you're
Yeah.
like, and then by the time fourth, fifth time you're hearing it, like this might be one of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
of all
especially
time.
when it's from a band you like, and you go, I don't know if I like the new album. And
Yeah.
then on the fifth listen, you're like, might be the best one.
It might be the greatest
Might
album
be
ever.
the best one they've
Yeah.
ever done.
And the opposite of that is something you really like, a song you really like the first time you hear it. Like that gets old pretty quick. I found, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, enough of this goddamn song.
Interesting. So I went the opposite direction, which is mostly movies I loved or liked at one point and realized that no, they're maybe not so good upon a future viewing, because we have done, like I mentioned, we did top 5 movies you didn't like at first, aka top 5 rewatches, and movies you loved when you were 9. So I feel like, at least for me, I've covered plenty of ground with movies I've come around on. I'm gonna stick with one exception. I'm gonna stick to movies that I've soured on.
So we get the yin and the yang.
That's right.
I like it.
I know there's a lot in my in my film watching life where I think that in my head right now there's movies that I think I like it, but if I were to go back and watch them, there's so many movies that I've only seen like VHS copies of on small little TVs. Some of those movies I'm probably like Luke on, and if I watched them again, more appropriate format, I'd probably like them all. I need to go back and watch Rosemary's Baby. Like I've seen that one time on like a 36-inch tube television VHS copy.
It's a really good point.
It's good. I liked Rosemary's
But
Baby quite a bit.
Anderson, your point is correct, which is there's movies that stick in my mind. Like I've seen Chinatown once. I probably on the same tube TV back in the day. Will I like it again? I hope.
Yeah, you will. You would. You'd be confused again, with rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's one of the most confused.
Yeah.
The story behind that, like some book I was reading, they were talking about how I've talked about this
I wasn't
before, but
confused by it.
they were passing the script around town, and Robert Towne was like the it guy at the time, and everyone was like, "Gotta have this. We're gonna produce it." It was like a bidding war, and then it kind of came out slowly but surely, but no one understood it. No one knew what the fuck was going on, but
Yeah.
they all had to produce
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
They had to be the smartest one by producing it.
yeah, and they didn't really understand it. I mean, it's all about water. It's so
Right.
boring.
It's all about aqueducts, arroyos.
Don't say arroyos. Come on, Bryan.
It's all Los Angeles.
All right. You know what I did? Since the last time I saw you guys,
What's that?
I saw Princess on the big screen. Speaking of like talking while watching a movie a second time in the appropriate format,
Okay.
I watched Nausicaa.
Oh.
Nausicaa.
Oh, well, you saw
Princess of the
Sound
Valley.
Events?
Princess of the Valley of the
Wow.
Wind. Yes, I took my 6-year-old to see this 1984 classic film, which just came across our plate maybe a couple months ago. And while watching, I'm like, I like this movie so much. I wish that I was watching it on the big screen. And I got to fulfill that dream. So
Was it glorious?
it was. Atticus was still a little bit too young, I think.
You didn't like the bugs and the explosions?
He liked some of it. He liked the end.
There's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
He liked the big creature thing, the god that melts. And he's like, it was very satisfying when he was melting. I'm like, I don't know if that's the appropriate reaction.
That's
You
how I
have to
felt,
go-
Danny.
You have to go back to your forest.
But yeah, it was great seeing it on the big screen, and they're doing all of his movies over I think they do
through
it most
October,
years.
right?
I think they did the same thing last year too with them. Phantom events, they get a lot of mileage out of them. So okay, that's that. I don't have anything else. And
I got a quick one.
That was just Tyler, who assigned us Nausicaa originally.
All right.
July 31st. It's leaving streaming, but it went down smooth. Smokey and the Bandit.
Really?
Incredible.
I've never seen it.
Holds
Incredible.
up.
Really?
I loved it.
Really?
96 minutes. Tremendous. I could not have been more delighted with the movie.
Really?
It was excellent. It was exactly what you want for just a 70s kind of action comedy. It just good. If you just want like a man's man movie, turn off your brain.
Was it the original?
Yeah. Great.
I haven't seen that in years and years and years.
It holds. There's nothing problematic about it.
Really?
There's
I'm shocked by that. I
No.
would have thought there was all sorts of problematic stuff throughout
There's
that
no
movie.
like weird sexual stuff. There's no weird racial stuff. There's no weird like homophobic stuff. It's
leaving
just
Netflix?
on the 31st. Yeah, so you got a little bit of time.
I
But
always got that confused with another movie I did not see, which is Cannonball Run.
that you cannot stream anywhere. There's no way to rent it. I keep trying to see that too. You can't find it. So
Cannonball Run 2, I used to watch that one a lot. But those are just remakes of It's a Mad World. And that's what those are.
But Smokey, highly recommend. I was
right.
kind of blown away by how fun
I
it
need
was.
to I need to see that.
I'm gonna
You haven't seen it?
Again, I haven't seen
okay.
it.
It's-
I probably saw it like 15 times as a kid.
It's very fun.
My brother and I would let our dad, when we were very young, drag us to the LA car show, which he did.
Yeah.
Probably 3 years in a row. And like 99% of it was boring as fuck for us. And just being with my dad in public was always like a roll of the dice. Like it made us really nervous, but we knew we'd be able to see a Trans Am there and touch it and like sit inside of it. And it was worth it. Just
for that.
Just for that. We go all the way down to the LA
All the
Convention Center,
vegetables.
wait in the line, have my dad fight with strangers and embarrass us. And then we'd be able to sit inside of a Trans Am, and it was worth the entire journey. Yeah.
Glorious. It felt very Carano. I understood his Burt Reynolds obsession.
Speaking of
Carano just did an NPR interview where they're going to do an entire story on him talking about delivering Burt, which is that story that he did. He made a documentary about 15 years ago where he bought or he secured a life-size Burt wax statue and delivered it to Burt's girlfriend in Florida.
No, Florida State, I thought.
Florida State, but it was his girlfriend that he delivered it to. Yeah.
I thought it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's amusing.
Yes. And I can't wait to hear that interview when it's done.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Speaking of Mike Carano, he will be my guest this week on Loaded for Bear, which is part of this feed. If you guys listen to this, I jam it in, shoehorn it in once a week, and it's just all about the updates of what's going on with the documentary, narrative feature film, and now possibly short film, most likely short film that we're going to be doing as a proof of work. And it's a behind-the-scenes look and at filmmaking and documentary filmmaking and all things filmmaking. I interview various producers, and Mike is my co-director on the documentary side of things. So I have him on this week talking about the process and what he's getting out of now being a part of our class. Our class for individuals with mental disabilities is not the right way to say it. Developmentally delayed. Yeah, intellectually delayed. I still get caught up with that with the newest terminology, but yes. So yeah, it's Mike Carano this week. Looks at that later in the week.
Very good.
IDD. I still get confused with that, which is stupid because I'm so enmeshed in the entire community and I still fuck up the name.
Yeah, that should be.
I get nervous like those guys on Fox News where it's like the LGBT
XYZ.
They get to Q and then they get real nervous. I'm with them. I'm a little nervous too. I don't want to fuck up.
Nothing better than the mockery that some of those guys have, like LGBT, XYZ, ABC.
I identify as a fighter pilot.
That's right. I identify. My pronouns are kiss. So that's the cringiest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's said with such self-satisfaction.
Who was it that said that?
Everybody.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's not a original premise.
All right, let's not get political, but what the fuck? Okay. I cannot find my list of top 5 prequels, sequels, and reboots. Cannot find it, Brian, and it's killing me.
Well, look up
Spider-Man.
While he looks it up, I came across an old After Disaster where Anderson reviewed The Phantom Thread.
Oh, wow.
And
how'd that go?
His byline was, it is like 50 Shades of Grey for highfalutin cunts. I rather enjoyed that.
He's not wrong.
I rather enjoyed that description.
And there is some truth to that, right? I watched that movie twice. I tried to change my mind. That would have made my list today because I went and saw that in theaters twice. Like maybe I'm missing something. I've done that with a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson movies. So, and
my list of movies movies you didn't like the first time was rife with PTA movies. I ended up loving Punch Drunk Love, and I love There Will Be Blood, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the style.
We might be stepping on things here, Brian. Let's get to the program. Let's get to the meat of the program, which is the top 5.
I'm gonna start.
I found my top 5 sequels, prequels, and reboots, which I will allow myself to see this year. 40 plus are coming out in the year 2023, and I've chosen 5. Evidently, actually 6 because I cheated by putting Craven on there as well. Got to see Craven the Hunter. You seen the trailer for that? Holy shit!
Yeah.
He uses like a bear trap as a weapon. Just
The
an
last time
open
we
bear trap.
The last time we discussed
quickly
this,
too, like he's just like hitting people on the head, so it just snaps on their head, and then the next guy, fucking Craven. They're gonna do.
Last time we talked about this, you said Craven was boring.
No, Craven is like one of the most absurd characters in the Spider-Man universe with what I've seen, but they're doing Aaron Taylor Johnson. Come on, it's gonna be good.
I'm excited, but I see sequels, prequels, and reboots.
But yeah, I don't have better James Bond on here, but I'm just gonna ignore my own rules. All right, you fuckers, beat me down. I'll watch.
This is how it happens.
Does a backflip on a motorcycle off a mountain. You gotta.
He didn't actually do that.
He did.
Was he trained by Amanda Bynes?
He did it 12 times.
Amanda Bynes.
Who's that? I fucked up on the name. What was the name?
Amanda Bynes is like a teen star.
Who's the athlete, Olympic athlete? And she had to leave for mental health issues, and now she's back.
Oh,
I don't know.
Simone Biles.
I was close.
Amanda Bynes, Simone Biles.
Like when you say it, it almost sounds exactly like what I say. Yeah, that's what I said. Amanda Byles. All right, let's get to this.
Mandibles. Amanda Byles.
Oh my God, The Exorcist is number 2 on my list. All right, The Exorcist is gonna be fucking sweet. What am I talking about? It's gonna be great. I'm so excited about the sequels and prequels and reboots that are coming out later this year. I got Spider-Man, The Exorcist, Dune Part 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, and Craven the Hunter. I'm gonna watch all of those. All right.
Excited. I'm glad you are a man of your word.
Part of the original, the machine of remakes and unoriginal dribble.
Like
okay.
Bert Kreischer's The Machine?
What's that?
Sorry. Bert Kreischer's The Machine?
That already came and went.
Well, I don't know why you brought up The Machine.
Because it's a Hollywood machine.
Oh, okay, I see.
We're just slurping up whatever they feed us.
I gotcha. Number 5 for me.
What should we see next, studio?
Want to start?
I'd like you to begin.
Number 5 for me. I saw... This is an interesting one because we saw different points in our lives, I assume. But I saw this movie...
There is a 4.5 year difference between it.
I saw this movie in the theater when I was 13 years old, and I was convinced that it was the greatest movie ever made. It's certainly the most important.
I am excited to hear your list. I've been thinking all week, like, what's going to be on Brian's list?
Talk about JFK. The greatest film ever made to a 13-year-old balding Bryan.
Had you seen Natural Born Killers yet?
No, that didn't come out. 1991.
Oh, yeah, it was before.
I hadn't seen Platoon. I hadn't seen... My list was admittedly small. It was the same 12 movies I brought to the film vault 10 years later.
You did have like a baker's dozen that you would rely on pretty heavily.
So JFK was one of the first 12. It is a good movie, and I've seen it since, but with the benefit and hindsight of having seen a few more films since 1991, I can now properly rate it as, it's good. It's very good, but it's not the best movie I've ever seen.
A little too stylized for...
Stylized and very of its time, of the era. You know what I mean?
Oh, Oliver Stone was the era, right?
Yeah, he was a genre unto himself.
Era defining. It's been suggested that it's like that and Bowling for Columbine are like the 2 most mass appeal snuff films ever made.
Oh,
I'm not sniffing because of anything. I got a little stuffy nose there, but yeah, because there's actual murder takes place on.
Well, you forgot how shocking it was to see the back and to the left over and over again.
Especially like completely blowing up on the big screen like that. I did not need to see a man's head come apart like that.
And there it is.
Holy shit! You see that fucking head come apart? I've never seen brains like that before. That's Bunny. Yes, Platoon.
That's Dylan.
It is Kevin Dillon.
The good Dylan.
What happened to Kevin Dillon?
What happened?
Where'd he go?
He had a good run.
Miss that Kevin Dillon. Okay, number 5 for me is not Craven the Hunter. That's a different list. I need to get off that list.
You changed your mind about it?
I have a tie too.
Weak.
Been a while since I've had a tie. I saw Step Brothers in theaters, and I was annoyed and pissed off that people actually found this to be comedic. I'm like, it's just two idiots wandering about,
being
stumbling
dumb.
about, being dumb. It's like maybe one step above Dumb and Dumber, because I'm not a fan of Dumb and Dumber at all. I just feel like Dumb and Dumber, when I saw it in the theaters when it came out, I was pissed because I was working at the home for intellectually Jesus Christ. Intellectually developmentally delayed.
IDD.
And I'm like, they obviously just wrote a script about like mentally challenged adults here and
Living
had them
at home.
and had them act it out, and everyone's laughing at, like, mentally challenged people here. This is not. I don't like this movie, and I felt like Step Brothers was doing more of the same. But when I saw it on rewatch, because it just happened to be on when I was flipping, my God, is it fucking golden. The sleepwalking scene alone is worth the and I don't know how. I must have just been in a shit mood that day.
Play something with the stranger.
Because Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly just crush it. It's a movie like every time you see it will become funnier and funnier.
We
and
strictly
funnier.
do Eddie's Joel, sir.
Adam Scott is brilliant in
I
that.
haven't had a carb in 10 years. What do you say? He shows the cutaway of the fucking abs that obviously aren't his.
You're just roasting them. They're like, come on, kids, let's all listen to Dane Cook in the car.
I want to watch that right fucking now. Step Brothers. And I
I've
walked
only
out
seen
of
it
that
once
theater.
all the way through.
Only one time? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Well, you're
But I mean,
remembering.
I'll probably like it more, based on.
Oh, and Catherine Hahn is great, too.
She's the whole
It's
cast.
great.
Jenkins is great.
Mary Steenburgen.
Steenburgen fucking crush. She's such a perfect, like, sweet, nice mom. You cannot wake them up while they're sleepwalking. Oh, just a full Christmas tree.
The little kids bullying them is great.
I need to watch this again. But yeah, I walked out of that.
Watch along.
Walked out of that
watch
theater.
That would be a good watch along.
No, it wouldn't be. It's too Fast and Furious. We'd just be us sitting there laughing and watching.
It's true.
Is that
Yeah,
what
that's
people
a good
want to
point.
do?
Yeah, people like to have fun.
But I walked out of that theater. It was the one that was like right next to Loveline that they built on our parking lot and right into work. And I was just like, why do people like that movie? Fuck that movie.
Streaming on Hulu.
Tight. I might watch that tonight. I lie.
I'm burying you.
An hour and 31 minutes.
How many times
I'm
have you seen
alive,
this?
Brennan. Oh, I saw this a million times. It's just like I think this is something like peak high school for me.
I don't know how
So we watched it just 1,000 times on DVD.
I don't know why it didn't connect with me the very first time. I don't know. Maybe I went in their arms. I don't know. It's by far and away my favorite Will Ferrell movie. By far and away.
Rob Riggle just with the Catalina wine mixer.
Yes.
He's great.
All right. Can we end the show so I can go home and watch this?
Go ahead. I'll take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send your list, Avery.
Oh, fuck.
What's your number 4 there, Barbara?
Number 4.
Wait, you had a tie. Step Brothers and?
My tie's at 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me. Sometimes you see the wrong movie.
Like you go to the theater and you
Kind
walk
of.
into the wrong
Kind of.
auditorium.
Similar to that. This takes place when I was a young boy. I thought that the funniest movie I'd ever seen, the funniest movie that existed, was Airplane 2.
Oh. All the leftover jokes.
I was 4 by the time both airplane movies existed in the world. And so by the time I came of movie watching age, Anderson, I made the mistake of seeing Airplane 2 first.
Oh.
And so
Who let you do that? Like, who was in charge
I
of?
think it was my grandma. I think my grandma had
That's
had
classic grandma.
Yeah, that really tracks.
Yeah, that's classic
Yeah.
grandma.
Got the wrong one from Blockbuster.
You want to
Yeah.
watch the better one first because it's got the number 2 in it, so it's
And
better than 1.
It's silly. There's some decent gags. It's the far inferior of the two movies. How was I to know?
Yeah.
I thought Airplane 2 was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
So you thought it was the funniest thing, and then you went and saw the first one. And
Yeah.
You saw the first-rate top shelf jokes.
And also a lot of references made in the second movie. There's tons of callbacks to the first movie where I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
It
Call
must have
ahead.
blown your mind.
I did the math pretty quickly.
You get confused quickly and
I
easily.
do, but in this case, I was able to put 1 and 2 together.
You'd think this would have given you some good practice for watching Pulp Fiction, and it wouldn't have been so
I know.
confusing for you.
You can see now where I landed
Bryan is on record saying that Pulp Fiction is the most confusing movie he's ever seen.
at the time.
Ever.
At the time, I didn't know what the GIMP was. I was confused by that. I didn't know what a GIMP was. I know it now.
What kind of life do you live? What kind of a sheltered life do you live where you don't have
I
like a
grew up-
gimp
I grew up
at
in
some
the-
point in your life?
I grew up in the town that the fucking two Asian girls grew up in Joyride. Just two white people everywhere. Safe.
What's the name of your town?
White Hills.
Good living.
No, San Carlos is the city of good living.
Uh-huh.
It's
You're so
city,
bougie.
City of good
You're
living.
so bougie.
I didn't name it.
You're a bougie guy.
I didn't name it.
You're very bougie though. You respond to it, you love it, and you associate with it, and that's your identity.
a little proud.
He's
of
in a polo shirt right now.
He's a what?
He's in a polo shirt right
Is
now.
He is in a polo
It's
shirt.
an Old Navy polo shirt.
Oh my God, the bouge. Yeah, the frat boy bouge. That's fratty
This
bouge.
cost $6. Anyway,
You should get a nicer
airplanes here.
shirt.
Decent.
This
decent.
costs $25. What the hell? Why am I wearing a bougier
Yeah,
shirt?
seriously,
I gotta
really
shut
are.
my mouth.
Yeah, yours is bespoke Herzog.
Yeah, it's fucking tight. Is what it is.
Pretty
It's
sweet.
got Danzig and
Honestly,
Herzog.
it's pretty sweet.
It's one of those things you give a double take. You're like, what is
Honestly,
that? Is
it's
it a
not bad.
Danzig or
It's not
Herzog?
bad.
This is the shirt that I was wearing with
Hey.
a cop that I had a war with, and then he was trying to like make friends with me, and I was wearing this shirt. He's like, he stopped his car. I'm like, fuck, what's he want now? I've already accosted this man. He's a police officer. I'm at war with
I
him.
haven't heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's summer school. I mean, it's summertime. I'm not taking the kid to school, so I don't have a war with a cop going, but
Fair.
I'm sure it'll heat back up
Come
in the fall.
Coming this fall.
But so I think he's
The
trying to
war.
make the peace, and I'm
That's
walking
a sequel.
Cowan and the cop.
walking across the street, and he stops right in front. And this dude, every time I get out of my car, every time I park my car, he just happens to be rolling by. It's almost like one of those like parody movies where it's just impossible, but it always happens. You know what I mean?
It's Hubie Halloween.
So it is Hubie. So I get out of my car. The cops, of course, he's right there. He stops. I'm trying to cross the street. He stops. I'm
It's
like,
Russ the center block.
he's fucking, what's he shaking me down for? And he says, and he's wearing his Oakley Blaze. He goes, oh, no way. You like Danzig? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And then he keeps driving. And I'm like, I could have gone, because no, the way I am, in my head, I had to bite my tongue, Bryan. But actually, it's not a Danzig shirt. It's actually a German director.
You're gonna eliminate any goodwill built up.
Plus, it was just so awkward. And like, he's trying to make that connection. And it was just like, oh, God, the chills, the douche chills.
Hey, can I tell you something I think actually might impress you? Not impress you, but improve my standing
Try
in
me.
your eyes.
Yeah.
My mom got me a very cool shirt. I acknowledge that it was cool. It was the Def Leppard logo, the triangle, with the writing like Def Leppard, like you would see on the album. But it said De Palma.
It's the
Instead of-
same. It's the same series
is.
as this. Yeah,
It is.
it comes from Cinephile.
I never once wore it because you know what? Even though I love Def Leppard, don't like De Palma enough. I felt like a real poser wearing it because I'm not a big De Palma fan. Never once wore it. Is that better or worse?
It's kind of worse because
Why?
you're talking to a guy who is such. I'm so soft, Bryan, that this is true. My mom would send sandwiches to school when I was in like elementary school, and American cheese like on the sandwich. I fucking hated it. I hated American cheese, but I ate it because I felt
Out of
bad because I
loyalty.
pictured her like putting it down and thinking, oh, he'll like this, and I didn't want to like hurt her unknowing feelings. So what I would do in that situation, if my mom got me the De Palma Def Leppard shirt, is I would force feed myself De Palma and find Raising Cain is fucking great.
I'm not saying he makes no good movies. I'm saying I'm not a big enough fan to walk around with a De Palma T-shirt.
You're just
You
afraid
love her. You
someone's-
love Werner.
Yeah, but
and
I haven't
Danzig.
seen every single one
And
of his
Danzig.
movies. Yeah, that's true. All right, I
Anyway.
feel like you should do your mom right and go out there and
She's gotten me a lot of cool. This shirt my mom got me. I'm wearing it right now.
$6. How do you know that? Did you ask for a gift receipt?
I returned it, got a price adjustment.
Are you sure it's not like a Yeezy? It might be like $150.
Wouldn't that be funny if I ordered from Old Navy and got a
I thought you said Gap.
no Old Navy?
Old Navy. What kind of a name is that for a
The-
Old Marines? Come on in and get some cargo shorts.
Now I'm gonna enrage you.
Oh Jesus! Here he goes with this. We got to get back to the list, Bryan. How about that?
His eyes shut and his finger went up.
And he's doing that thing on the bridge of his nose where he's pinching it.
Oh, I know that I'm doing something wrong, but I can't help myself. I'm compelled.
All right, what is it?
Oh my god!
Old Navy.
You're gonna hate everything about this. In college, I had a internship. Actually, two back-to-back summers at the Gap's corporate headquarters in San Francisco, right there under the Golden Gate Bridge at 1 Harrison, and or the Embarcadero on Harrison Street.
Wait, right by Fort Point?
No, that's much farther down by the ballpark. I drove past the baseball diamond or Date.
The Golden Gate Bridge, there's only one structure underneath it, and that's Fort Point.
Did I say the Bay Bridge?
Maybe.
No, you said Golden Gate.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I meant the Bay Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. Sorry.
Oh, I love
Under the
those
Bay
words.
Bridge.
I'm gonna get that drop.
They're very rare.
Yeah, they were.
I'm marking it.
Gap and Old Navy were riding high at that point, and part of the internship was like, oh, you guys have a presentation with the CEO of Old Navy or the CMO of Gap or whatever. There's part of the internship. And at one point, the Old Navy person's talking to us, and it comes up how they named the company. They were trying to think of all. They actually hired a firm to pitch all these names, and I think someone might have been Mickey Drexler. And if someone was in fucking Japan or something, and he was the CEO.
Who's Mickey? Do not drop names as though we're CEO.
That's a good point.
Aficionados? Who's your favorite CEO?
Mickey Drexler's making a run at it.
I think he's my only CEO.
Honestly, pretty good. Mickey Drexler. I talked to Mickey. Anyway, he...
Did you call your mom right after you talked to Mickey?
He saw
I
us-
talked to a CEO.
He saw a sign
This shirt is kind of
in,
cheap, Mom. I need a better shirt.
in Japan that said Old Navy, and he's like, "That's it. Got to name my company that."
He saw a sign in Japan that
Yeah.
said Old Navy.
That's right.
Huh.
It was nonsense English,
So they hired a firm.
and never used it.
And never used
thing
it.
they did. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Enough.
That was neither here nor there.
Yeah, enough subverting the actual purpose of the program.
Old Navy.
I still need more detail. He's in Japan and he sees a sign that says Old Navy. There's no back.
It's Mickey Drexler. What do you want?
Yeah, the classic Mickey.
Classic Mickey. All right. Speaking of not
Mickey
enough,
Drexler getting a lot of run on this show.
not enough
Top
backstory.
5 CEOs.
No, not
Top
enough
5 Mickeys.
backstory. That's one of the
I have my
main
number 1
reasons why
and number 2.
I didn't like my number 4 when I first saw it in the theaters.
What's that?
And a cheap little trick was done upon me, which was quite effective, and that's the soundtrack. I like the soundtrack enough to get it, and then while driving around the streets of LA at night, listening to the Drive soundtrack, I'm like, you know what?
I love this movie.
I don't dislike that movie at all. In fact, I fucking love it, and I'm gonna go see it 3 or 4 more times in the theater. But I had so many problems with Nicholas Winding Refn's Drive when I first saw it because it was just I wasn't prepared for it to be that much of a slow burn and that quiet and lacking in dialogue.
Because the trailer, as I recall, was very slam bang.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be
Lot of
more
action.
action-packed. And then we're talking about, 12, 13 years ago, and I thought it was going to be stylized action, and it was much more of
It
atmospheric.
was that.
Especially when
At
you hear
times.
the premise, where it's Ryan Gosling's a stunt driver that commits crime. You go, that's gonna be the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen.
Was not prepared. Yeah, I was. It was mismarketed, I think, but they had to. They got my butt in the seat, right? Not that I look for an action-packed movie. That's not really my. I respond much more to a movie that is ironically put together like Drive,
Sure.
but I wasn't prepared for that, and I thought he was asking a little bit much of the audience, but I was wrong. Drive is a fucking masterpiece. Not a whole lot going on there, but the atmospheric and it's almost like a tone poem in a lot of ways, which I hate. Usually I hate that, but this movie is all
That's
about
great.
tone.
Oscar Isaac's so fucking cool in that
He's-
movie.
That's a movie I've seen once.
Amazing. Yeah, I've seen it a number of times, and I don't think it would have got its hooks in me if it wasn't for me loving the soundtrack and the vibe and listening to that. And now it's it's my top 100 probably. It's one of my favorite 100 movies I've ever seen. I absolutely love Drive, and I was wrong.
I ought to go back and watch it again.
It's so good, Brian.
Kavinsky.
It's so good. The Fork. I've found so many of the locations too that they shot.
Oh,
Drive
yeah,
at.
right in
It's
LA, yeah.
all right around me. Vincenzo's Pizza. I go there all the time. They used to sell a pizza, that actual pizza joint, which is still there. It's voted number 1 in the Valley or something.
Really?
They would sell. They used to have it on the menu. You could get cherries on your pizza.
Oh,
Cherries.
it's good.
How many pizza joints have cherries?
Very few.
It's where he gets the spork in the eye.
That's right. He befalls an unfortunate fate.
Drive number 4 for me. Go ahead, bro.
Number 3 is the only movie on my list where I go from bad to good, i.e. I thought it was bad and I realized it's actually very good. Shamefully, I put this movie on my list of way back in the day, top 5 good scenes in bad movies. At that time, I was talking about the basement scene from Zodiac, which I don't know why. Maybe it's had disappointing, like you were alluding to with your expectations.
It's frustrating.
Of Drive. Well, Zodiac was tough because it was coming off of a lot of just some of my favorite. At this point, Fincher had just great movies in the can. I'm like, yeah, the next David Fincher movie, and it's Zodiac, and it was a slow burn, and there's no resolution, and I think I was expecting one thing and didn't get it, and I was disappointed, and thus I decided it was a bad movie. When in fact, I've revisited it, and it's quite a good movie. It's really masterfully made. The scene in the basement is one of many very tense, very well done scenes.
I was just thinking about this movie like earlier this week for some reason. I was thinking about that scene in particular, which is the scene in the movie. Well, there's some great scenes. In
Would
that
this
movie.
be a good watch along? It's very quiet.
No. It's long and it's like it's just I feel like it's disrespectful.
Two idiots talking would ruin this movie.
Yeah, it's disrespectful to a classic, a very masterfully made movie like this. However, it's still frustrating to me, and I still don't like this movie. It's not like I'm going to seek it out, and it's not like my.
It's not fun.
Top shelf. It's frustrating because of the lack of resolution and
I love Zodiac. I've probably seen it 5 times. I really, really like the movie. And there's more resolution than you think.
I guess
they
it's just
strongly imply that they figure out who it is. So
it's not the technical, like what we're used to, like the traditional resolution.
No, but they pretty much, because a lot of people criticize it for that, but they do all but say who it was. I mean, it turns out, I think in retrospect, that's not who it was, because now we found out.
Frustration!
But they did strongly imply. I think they did recently in the last 3 years.
I know they did. I don't know if they did.
I think they did for the Zodiac Killer recently. I can look that up.
I don't think they did.
I think anyway. But
not conclusively, but I think new evidence came that strongly suggested someone.
Yeah.
Really?
That's what I read.
Donnie?
That's what. It was Donnie.
Trump?
It was Donnie Trump.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
He couldn't have sat on that long. He would have told everybody.
Way, yeah, he totally would have.
That movie was
He would have been pulling he would have been pulling his mask off when he's shooting the couple. It's me. It's me. Before you die, you have to say me. It's
Very
me.
sad. You're not going to ever see me as president. Would have been the greatest moment of your life. You're never going to see it because I'm killing you now.
Tell everyone in heaven or hell that it was me.
That stabbing scene down by the water was like.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is brilliant.
I need to watch this again.
It's great.
It's a deep cast.
It's great.
I got to tie it my number 3.
That's right.
Do we take a? Have you done your 3?
That was 3.
We take a break after you.
All right. So I've talked about both of these at length and how I didn't like either one of them a whole lot first time. But one is Gangs of New York, 2002. I saw it. I was underwhelmed. I was like, I was expecting more from Scorsese. You hold them up. It's one of those things where
totally.
You got to keep your expectations in check. And I didn't do that with Gangs of New York.
The burden of expectations.
Once again, it was strange because I went to sleep that night. I woke up in the morning and the flutes. There was a very particular flute sound that goes high pitched from the score, which I hadn't got yet, but I got and listened to incessantly for a while. In fact, it opened up. I incorporated it into the Countdown for Loveline for like 3 years. We just heard On My Challenge. And of course
I was there. That was my era, buddy.
So you heard it.
Here's you. Here's you.
Yes, every night getting pumped up for Loveline, and then the show would start. I'm like, now I'm bored.
Just a fist.
But
that makes a fist.
This high-pitched flute that was of the era, and just started. I was in the morning, woke up, and I was in my friend's bed, and just thinking about Daniel Day-Lewis's character, and I'm like, you know what? I need to. Not only did I wake up realizing that I love this movie, I need to see it again. So this is the quickest turnaround that I've ever had.
It wasn't that intro you built just heard by the people in the
it was just heard by our affiliates.
Yeah, but I'm saying it wasn't heard by the public.
Not by the public. Just
On My Challenge.
Just our affiliates.
We're meant to find out who holds sway over the 5 points.
All of the different.
I'm not quoting the movie. I'm quoting your mix.
The 5 pints. All the affiliates that ran Loveline, they would listen to that and they would know when we were going live to air. So that's what. And then when we moved to K-Rock, I became a real prick. And their main competition at the time was Indy 103, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I would pipe.
That's a fun station.
I would pipe Indy inside K-Rock into all of the studios.
You're hard to work with.
And some of the DJs would get really bad. It was a better show.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't going out on air, but I had that on the monitor, so we didn't hear K-Rock when I was in there setting up for Loveline. We heard Indy, which was the superior station.
It was the hipster station. Yeah. It was called.
It wasn't hipster because it was like old punk rock music.
That's
old punk rock's not hipster. You fuck. All right, tied for my number 3.
It was.
Tied for my number 3. Share some DNA with Gangs in New York, and that's because a man named Daniel Day-Lewis is in There Will Be Blood. Told this story a number of times. I'm not going to bore people, but if you haven't heard the story ever, or if you don't recall, I got to see this on the Paramount lot like a week or two before it came out. Greg Srzewski was kind enough to, because he's a professional critic and goes back in the day, especially before COVID. Like if you saw an advanced screening, you were going on a lot. It was a lot of fun. I used to go on lots to see movies in very nice theaters often. And Greg Srzewski invited me and my then girlfriend Jillian to go see the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and I was fucking thrilled and excited, especially with Daniel Day-Lewis. And I was not prepared for the slow burn.
Jillian must have loved it.
There Will Be Blood, and I did not like. I walked out of there kind of with like, what the fuck did I just do? And that end was like the most overacted, glorious ending I've ever seen, but it doesn't match the rest of the movie. And then the movie came out, like I had like 2-3 weeks to sit on this movie, and it was pissing me off and annoying me. And then,
were you thinking about it?
yeah, a lot. Yeah. And I was kind of like counting the days till it came out in theaters so I could go revisit it. And then I just ended up seeing it like 6 or 7 times or something insane.
It has to be confirmed that it's a dark comedy on some level, right? Some have to outwardly be almost played for laughs.
Yeah, it's derived from a book. I don't know the author.
It's called Oil by John Updike.
Yeah, what is it Updike?
I think. Look that up if you don't mind.
Could be. It's not Sinclair.
Oh,
is it?
Updike, Upton. Yeah, I get those two confused. Could be
Upton Sinclair.
Yeah.
It might be. I have
John
one of the
Updike was
original
many years
Oil
later.
by Upton Sinclair.
Yeah, he was many years later.
What
an idiot!
I have like one of the original. I know something about authors that you don't. That
You
must
really
kill
do.
you. That must kill you.
I'm wounded. Avery, I'll give you $1,000 to cut that out.
Yeah, I think
I'm going to replace it with you saying you're wrong twice.
you're right. I'm wrong. You said that earlier. Now I said it. Fuck, I say it all the time.
Sure.
Because I realize my faults and I accept them and I own them.
I realized the few faults that I have.
But
Blow the dust off my faults.
I heard him in an interview not too long ago, Paul Thomas Anderson, who is just a delight. If you haven't heard Paul Thomas Anderson in an interview, do yourself a favor.
It's been a while.
He's so just down to earth. Like you'd never guess that this man, and he's, there's nepotism at work there. He grew up, in a Hollywood family, and this wasn't handed to him. He had to do the work, but you would never guess that this guy who just super smart, but he doesn't come off as like he's trying to prove anything to you. He's that confident. He's just great. I love him. I love him in interviews. So he was talking about There Will Be Blood, and I'm so dumb I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but I always thought that it was his idea of like a high, like an action movie almost, like a quest,
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
like adventure movie, right? And he wasn't saying that in the interview. He was saying, it's just more about character study and
That makes sense.
comedy. There's definitely comedy. In
Yeah.
Yeah, they go for laughs at
It is-
certain points.
Especially after you've seen it a certain number of times, it's just laugh out loud funny for most.
I've been doing that stuff. You're just a boy. To Atticus since he was like 2 years old. He knows it. He knows not that part, but he knows a lot of it. He knows that I drink your milkshake part.
He's gonna see that movie as a young man. And he's gonna have his mind blown.
Take him to the Peachtree Dance and get liquored out.
Oh, it's so good. Nice little business. $5,000 a month. $5,000 a week, I think it is. I need to see it again. I'm rusty.
One of your sermons, Eli. One of your sermons.
Yeah, that's what the movie's really about. I'm not gonna. We all know what it's about.
Sure.
It's about a bad dad.
About a man.
It's about a bad dad.
It's been too long since I need to have a double feature of this and Step Brothers.
That opening scene, it was just like, what am I watching here? What am I supposed to be thrilled about a man spitting on gold? I don't care. I don't care with the Greenwood soundtrack. It's too much. What are you doing? You're not.
The opening was all silent, right? He was digging. He was mining.
Yeah, there's no dialogue. It was just him out in the desert finding gold and becoming the guy that he became.
Him getting slapped around or him and his kids slapping each other is so good.
Profitable little business. My hockey.
Don't you ever talk to my son again? I'll come into your house and slit your throat.
God, he's good. I would take the abuse to have that man as my dad and just hear him every day because there's something so soothing about his abusive tone.
It'd be great if he owned a store near your house.
Yo, I'd just
And you
hang
could
out
go
there.
in.
I'd buy one stick of gum at a time
and just agree with whatever he said. Just yep. Mm-hmm.
I need an old man like this one. What was I was gonna say?
What if you're wealthy enough to just hire Daniel Day-Lewis to reprise that character?
He'd probably
From
slip in a
time to
Phantom
time.
Thread, and I'd just be infuriated.
Only at breakfast time.
Okay. All right, so that's my number 3.
Oh, nice.
Tied Gangs of New York and There Will Be Blood. And I don't like either one of those movies nearly as much. If obviously Daniel Day-Lewis isn't doing his Daniel Day-Lewis thing. It's like he drives both those movies.
So much.
Huh? What?
What?
What the who? What was I gonna say? What was I going to say about
What were
that
you
old
gonna say?
Daniel Day-Lewis? Let's get out of here.
Should we take a break so you
Take
can
a
think about
break,
it?
yeah.
Let Anderson think about that. Coming up
Not
next,
important.
Amazon purchases after this. These are all purchases made pre-Amazon Prime Day. So thank you for tapping the banner and helping us out. Like we pointed out, this whole first couple weeks of July, the Amazon has increased their payouts. So we're getting a little more for all of your click-throughs and purchases and patronage. We appreciate you for doing that. In fact, someone got something that inspired me. I've always wanted this, and I think I'm going to ask Christy to get it for him for Christmas. They got it. Hold on, where is it? It's the Anchor Power Bank Portable Charger. This is like the size of a little bigger than a toaster. And
Car battery.
Yeah, and it's portable, and it holds the charge for hours. And if there's a power outage, or if you're camping or whatever, you can plug your shit in there and run it for hours. Oh, I like to be prepared. I have an emergency kit out back. No, back.
So you just leave it plugged in all the time?
You could, although
Because if you're using it for like, UPS, it would be a problem if the power goes out. And you're like, fuck, we had how it charges.
Indeed, yeah. You want to keep it charged. I imagine you probably want to charge it up every couple months.
You go camping a lot?
No, never. No.
You ever catch a fish?
Yeah, actually,
I don't know. I didn't need you to take this road.
you opened Pandora's box.
Can we close it?
No, now it's open.
He was fishing with Mickey Drexler.
I wish. I wish. Look up Mickey Drexler. What's he up to these days?
He's dead.
No,
He's long
he
dead.
better not be. I like that guy.
He's older Navy.
He's elder
Anderson.
Navy.
Dead Navy. All right, go ahead.
Yes. I was on a bachelor party where we all
you were.
did it with a fishing trip, and
This is why Bryan likes him. He's like old Bryan.
yeah.
Oh, he does look a lot like Bryan.
Bryan.
Were you as young Bryan talking to
There he is.
bald, like older version
It
of
was
you?
kind
Were you
of.
like,
This is his
There was a little
linoleum.
bit of.
you're like, there's a chance for me.
This
there
is his
was a-
linoleum.
a little bit of linoleum going on there for sure. A little bit of linoleum.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Relax, it's a compliment.
one of the. That's what I said to him. When I went to the bachelor party, we did a fishing trip. I was the first one to hook
Catch
a
him,
fish.
catch him in a.
No, because unfortunately the fish got off the hook. But I got the first.
This is something you actually remember. Brian, this
Yeah.
made me so sad. This is the saddest story you've
Really?
ever told.
I almost
Why?
got the girl's number.
Because he sniffed. He told a long-winded story about him and one of his accomplishments in life, which was not even catching a fish, but he got a nibble.
That's
his
got
thing.
away.
I was the first one at the bachelor party to get a nibble.
Yep.
I held the door open for the prettiest girl in school.
Right.
How many years ago was this, Brian?
She said my name by accident.
How many years?
It wasn't that long ago. 5, 6, 7 years ago.
It's still fresh in your mind, though.
I remember that day well.
Like it.
Actually,
I remember that nibble well.
The real
Jesus
accomplishment,
Christ, Brian.
of that day was floating on the river in an inner tube and waders and the fishing pants and having to pee and just managing to drop those just enough to pee off the side of the raft. That was an accomplishment, which I'm proud of.
All right. I wish I didn't hear any of that.
I can show you. Other things caught on the Amazon link that we have on Anderson and Bryan Comic Club. 30 Nayubi 5x7. Don't laugh at that. 5x7 acrylic picture frames. Elite Screens 136-inch projector screen. 6 Porter Cable heat guns. 2 New World dog crates. Boise X9 multi-use copy paper, and someone got themselves some Hammer Mill printer paper as well. The Anchor Power Bank, as I mentioned, which will someday be mine soon. Isopure protein powder, creamy vanilla.
Creams.
3 crankcase ventilation filters for a Dodge Ram were purchased. Someone got themselves an LG Blu-ray player. Amazon Fire HD 8 tablet was picked up. 2 Zag Invisible Shield privacy screen protectors for an iPhone 14 were picked up. Ugly Stick. Oh my God. Ugly Stick spinning fishing rod and reel combo.
What are the chances?
What are the chances?
Well, it's summertime. I feel like the chances
True.
are pretty good.
Someone got well, yeah. If you ever need help hooking a fish and almost catching it, I'm your
Bryan,
man.
it's not even a thing.
I'm
You
your
got
man.
a nibble, okay? You got like a nibble, and the guy just slipped right off. You know what the worst part about that is? Like that guy's out there with a wounded mouth,
Yeah, thanks to me.
swimming around.
That's right.
With a
Or
piercing.
he's
You
like,
didn't order.
he's like, I almost got caught by some guy who looked like Mickey Drexler.
Only
Scotch
fish.
menu-sized laminating
deeply.
pouches. Rail Super Value 45-gallon trash bags. Under Armour drive shorts. Junkie Armor. Junkie Android 10-inch tablet. Riding a lawnmower cover. Blink Video doorbell and a Blink Video outdoor wireless HD security camera. Kirkland extra strength glucosamine. Moen Faucet Arbor Wand Kit. Rad Sports Kayak Hoist. You had a problem with a kayak recently.
I did.
Someone got themselves
Have to be
some.
rescued.
Maybe they used a hoist to get you out of there. Apple AirPods Pro were picked up, as was, finally, last but not least, Kowiri Pet Door. I should have really practiced Kowiwi.
That's what you did off your
I
finest
did
accomplishment.
Kowiwi.
You wee-weed.
That's
There
right.
it is.
One of his finest accomplishments. Honey, you'll never guess. I
told
got a
Chris-
nibble
I
and
told Chris-
peed.
I told Christy that.
All the boys think I'm a man.
I waited till I got back to the hotel.
Here are the movies that were clicked through. This is the last time I talked to you. Somebody clicked through and got Moontide. Thank you for that. Videodrome. That's another movie I need to revisit. Les Cousins. I saw the remake of that. I probably should have seen the original version. East of Eden was clicked through. Fuck to the S with the East of Eden. Plays such a weird, odd fella, that James Dean in that movie. Emerald Forest. Hey, you ever seen The Way Up, The Way Down, The Way Around, all that? And Ewan McGregor with his friend driving motorcycles.
Oh, yeah, the motorcycle, the South America to wherever.
Yeah, his best friend is the kid in Emerald Forest,
Oh.
all grown. You never recognize. At least I wouldn't.
Did not know.
Undying Monster was clicked through, as well as the Sea Wolf. Princess Mononoke.
Mononoke.
We're going to see that very soon, Brian. I'm very excited. It's one of his more adult. It's PG-13, but
That's good. That's a good one to
Sex?
show.
have you seen it?
Yeah, that's a good one to show like a 11-year-old boy.
Yeah, well, he's got some time. So I've gotten many warnings because people know that I'm going down the rabbit hole. Do not show Atticus for Princess Mononoke. 6 is too young.
No, but when he hits double digits, Mononoke.
Is there sex stuff in there?
How did I
Yeah.
remember blood and violence and slicing?
Pool of London was clicked through, as well as The Irishman. You got to click through it. No, I guess not everyone. Parallax, the Parallax View. Hey, I just covered that one not too long ago on the old cinematic. Straight Time, as well as The Incredible Melting Man. Tales from the Jimmy Hospital redo. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. 5 Easy Pieces. Fuck to the yes, the 5 Easy Pieces. Just because I covered it recently. It's a very interesting movie. I wouldn't say that I love it by any means, but I like the people who are watching. Loveless, Victoria, Better Off Dead. Where's my $2? The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. I've heard good things about that. How to Blow Up a Pipeline. You Hurt My Feelings. And Blackberry. This is a deserved fuck to the yes for the Blackberry, because Blackberry fucking
The
rules.
minute that is streaming,
Balls
Is it
down.
not?
I'm
It's
watching
still
that.
not.
I'm watching that
It's
every
crazy.
day.
Why are they not making that accessible to people?
I don't know. It's
Maybe
it's
they're
gonna
waiting
get-
until fall
it's gonna
until
get
it and
buried.
ramping it back up.
I think it's just gone. I think it's just one of beta test is so good, but people just didn't see it. Dinner in America. Beta test and Dinner in America and now Blackberry are three fucking movies that people just won't see because
You can rent it for $6.99.
the machine is just so noisy and so loud, and we don't get to hear about these movies that need to be seen. Blackberry, beta test, and
Dinner in America.
and Dinner in America, which is my
Ball City.
favorite. God damn it, those are 3 solid movies that are just ignored. All right. Yeah.
Well done. All right, back to the show.
Back to the program.
She only loves it when she's stoned.
All right. Ironically, I have much more crystallized thoughts about number 2 and number 1. However, number 1 is more egregious, so I'll stick with the order.
In what way? I guess we'll find out.
We will find out. But number 2 is considered a classic.
Uh-huh.
And I think I saw it when I was a kid. Probably didn't think much of it until many years later when I had a daughter. And I was forced to watch Sleeping Beauty. The Disney classic.
1995, Sleeping Beauty up for Best Picture.
1995.
Yeah,
That's
No,
Beauty
this
and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. I'm
Oh,
really
no,
dumb.
this is
I told you I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I make mistakes all the time.
Actually, I forgot to write down what year this was. That was
Beauty.
like 53, 50s.
Sleeping Beauty is on your list.
You mind looking this up, Avery? What year it was? I should have written that down. That's
1959.
Dang. There you go.
I just had the years reversed.
I read a lot about this because I'm like, I can't be the only one. It's not considered Disney's finest work. Walt Disney himself, who had overseen many of the classics up to this point, was more obsessed with opening Disneyland than he was with making Sleeping Beauty.
He was distracted.
Yeah, he had other interests, understandably. In my opinion, it's easily the worst classic Disney film. I'd always thought it was like, that's fine. It's just not for me, right? It's for little girls. It's of a bygone era, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, no. I have seen this as a 40-plus year old adult.
Right.
It is firmly below average. This is a bad movie. So Aurora, our, wait for it, titular heroine, is literally asleep for the third act. She sleeps through the third act. And she has no agency whatsoever over her life or anything that happens to her. Like she is looked after and every decision is made for her by her fairy godmothers. She literally exists only to be the damsel in distress for Prince Philip to rescue. And so by the third act, our main character is asleep in a coma, and the person fighting the evil Maleficent.
The dragon is great, though.
Yeah, the dragon. There are some decent things about the movie. That said, we're like all of a sudden, the third act, we're asked to care about this character who we don't know or care about at all. Prince Philip is completely bland and milquetoast, and yet he's fighting the dragon, like you said. What is actually a pretty cool sequence, but it's like, who is this guy? Why is our hero asleep? And she's only there to be rescued by the sweet prince. And their love story is absurd. He like hears her singing in the forest, and he's like, "My God, what a beautiful voice!" And then he sees her, and he's like, "My God, you're so pretty. I love you." And they're in love.
That's how it used to work back
Oh,
then.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I take that whole thing back.
You gave her the glass slipper. And,
In rural Bavaria.
Sure.
she
yeah.
ate the apple. Like all those movies kind
Yeah.
of blend together, like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, and Little Cinderella in there. Like they're all kind of the same movie. That's
Definitely
not
Snow White and Sleeping Beauty blend together for
very
me.
much so,
Yeah.
right?
Very
What is
similar.
that?
They're almost inextricable for me. I don't know why.
It's similar. Like,
Well, they're
plot
similar in the
lines
sense
and
that a young
structures.
girl is sent to the forest to escape like a evil queen or force trying to kill her. So yeah, in that sense, they are similar.
Are these based on these Hans Christian Andersen like stories?
I
Or?
think Sleeping Beauty might be. I think Snow White is.
You should
fine.
know this, Mr.
I really
Literature
should.
Boy.
I really should, but I'm not sure of the origin.
Please.
Not like Pinocchio.
Stop it.
No, I have a connection to Pinocchio.
So you grew up. Do not laugh at that. You grew up thinking the Sleepy Beauty, all-time classic, great
Yeah,
fucking movie.
I think most
And
people
then-
do.
You watched it when you were a child.
Yeah, it was fine. It was good enough. And so in a bit of like timely promotion, you know, the main castle, the iconic castle.
Yeah, when you walk
Disneyland,
into the old
that's
Disneyland.
Sleeping Beauty's
Yeah,
castle.
I walked through it.
As have I. My point is, you're like, oh, well, they made this the centerpiece, their goddamn logo for their company. This must, indicate how great the movie is. No, just promotion.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Hey, interesting. That's an interesting little fact. You know, when you think about that, it's like Sleeping Beauty. Like it's
It's so iconic.
yeah, it's an iconic like idea of like it's so hand in hand with Disney and you watch. I have not seen this movie maybe ever.
Oh, really?
I don't know if
you're
I
not,
will.
You're not missing much.
You have? You're talking about the?
I don't know if I will see it again.
Again, I probably watched it when I was a kid because I had little sisters.
Be glad you don't have a daughter in this respect because
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty was on quite a bit when she was like
That
3.
Typical music, like Disney score, and you hear like a chugga 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 going. Usually there's
Yeah.
like some kind of like train locomotive
Yeah.
going, and it's like.
And there, honestly, it's not a total disaster. Like the two kings are kind of funny together. They're kind of dopes, and that's amusing. But overall, this is a wildly overrated movie.
Number 2 for me is a movie that I adamantly did not like, and I'm like, why do people think that he's funny? Richard Dreyfuss is annoying in it. Bill Murray is just super annoying in it. It's like, what is funny about this movie? And then a couple years later, maybe 3 years later, and it's one of those moments. I saw this in the theater, did not laugh.
Were you annoyed because you saw your father in there?
I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was because
Just
Dreyfus
Papa's
is
asses.
so much like my dad in so many ways in this movie. If I have to say, you wanted to see what my dad was kind of like.
Well,
God,
that makes
my
you
poor
Sigmund.
dad.
That makes you Siggy.
My poor dad. What's that?
That makes you Siggy.
No, it does not.
Yeah, that's you.
No, it's not. You got This Boy's Life. What About Bob and The Great Santini? Like that's my dad. Like if the three of those,
Wow.
My dad's a composite of those characters. But I remember, this is how much I liked it on second viewing. All right, my parents were out of town. My whole family was out of town, which was rare for me because I'm a big family. All right, I was the oldest of 4, so there's 6 of us in the house. I had the house to myself, which was really rare. A very attractive girl who I ended up being with for like 3 years.
Oh yeah,
She was over at the house.
that's right.
My other friend was upstairs, with his conquest or whatever. And the girl who I ended up being with for 3 years, we ended up having a very long-term relationship. So I was in love with her. I thought I was. But that was one of the first nights that we were hanging out. And she was kind of trying to make some moves. But What About Bob was on in the background. And I couldn't believe that I was laughing at this movie that I absolutely despised when I saw it in theaters.
Honey, I'm falling in love. Hold on.
And we were on the pull-out couch in the living room. I remember it's so, and I kind of, got her something else to do because she wasn't in the movie, and I gave her something to do in the kitchen or something, which I know sounds misogynistic, but I just want.
You handed her bread and a knife.
You made her bake.
No, it wasn't like, go make me a sandwich. It was like, oh, you know what? I think you would. I forget what it was.
Wash
Let me
dishes.
see if I can find my sister's old Easy Bake Oven.
I got her out of my fucking hair so I could watch What About Bob and the glory that is What About
Go
Bob.
look through his receipts.
And it has become one of my favorite comedies of all time. It is fucking glorious, and I think you're onto something. I think it's because I was emotionally traumatized when I first saw it because I was feeling some of my dad's own. Well, my dad was a therapist. He had a very short fuse, and he had a temper, and I felt like I was Bob a little bit because I, didn't have the greatest self-esteem, and I felt like I was kind of the annoying idiot that my dad saw at times, and a lot of people. So, What About Bob? I think psychologically it fucked me at first, but the comedy is so goddamn good.
It's great.
It's so good.
That's a movie I haven't seen since the 90s.
It holds up. I saw this over the pandemic. It's
Laughed.
great. It's
Laughed.
hilarious.
I need to watch this.
It's very good.
He's sailing. He sails. It's come up on a number of lists.
Any movie where characters just lose their shit, I really respond to.
Dreyfus is
Dreyfus
Top 5 character
unraveling.
unravelings.
It's great.
I think he might have been on my list.
And just how much the family loves Bob.
And they're just blind to everything.
It's essentially Grimes. It's Grimesy. In reverse.
Who's Grimes?
In reverse. The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
In reverse.
I remember what I couldn't remember earlier when when I was part of a hockey fantasy league for like 4 or 5 years in a row. It was a bunch of hockey guys.
It was fun.
But I didn't play on their team. I was the only non-hockey guy that was in the fantasy because my brother-in-law was on this adult hockey league and he was on the team. So I was in it year in, year out. I won a number of years too.
This is going to be a low stakes brag like my almost caught a fish.
No. Oh, no, it's the name of my team was year in, year out. It wasn't Anderson. It was Bastards from Baskets.
Oh, it's good. Yeah,
Because
nice.
of There Will Be Blood. And no one ever had any idea what that meant. Bastards of Baskets is winning again this year, guys.
That's good. And did your parents or grandparents or anyone ever give you busy work as a kid?
Oh, my God. Well, not to keep me out of their hair because, my dad really wanted shit done around the house.
Okay, I meant literally occupy you for an hour.
No.
My grandparents, when they watched me, they were so
Dig a hole and fill it?
it's close to it. It's very much on brand for my grandparents. They would keep a giant Costco-sized mayonnaise jar, empty and washed, but empty mayonnaise jar filled with used scratchers, expired, not winning scratchers.
Very
and they would
trailer
say, "Hey, Bryan, can you check all these and make sure that?"
That's a sign of savvy grandparents who have an annoying grandkid.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely it.
Did they say you get to keep?
Yes. It's that if you find one that's a winner, you can keep it.
Because that's the carrot on the stick.
You know what? My dad did have me get those paper things for the coins, and you'd have to make a roll of pennies.
Oh yeah, I had to
And
do
he
that
had
too.
the giant a coffee can of coins, and he said I got to keep half of whatever I.
And you think it's fun?
Yeah.
And your dad's just watching the game.
Hands have your fingers have the weird gray.
Yeah, smell like metal.
You can't wash them off for days.
Maybe that was some busy work for me.
And you're like, I made $1 in 4 hours.
Mine was literally.
I showed him though because
be quiet for an hour.
I took the quarters and it just fucking socked them right in the bridge of the nose, holding the roll of quarters. No,
Why would you do that?
to show him.
Okay.
It's Goodwill Hunting.
Blammo!
This is Goodwill Hunting because fuck him. That's why.
Number 2 for you?
Number 2 is What About
Oh,
Bob?
Bob.
Remember?
Okay, yeah. Number 1 for
Baskets
me.
from a basket.
I must admit, this is a series of films.
Oh, no.
I know.
You said it was egregious. Did you finally come to terms with your love of James Bond?
No, how dare you?
Oh,
Those
I
are great
wish.
movies. No, the funniest thing in my life when I was 9 years old was Police Academy.
No. Those are fine movies for what
No,
they
they're-
are. They hit the mark for what they're going after, Brian.
They're so bad.
They're not
they're
missing
so
the mark though,
bad.
so let them be.
They're not so funny now.
They do not. It's
They're
almost
so bad.
Oh, really? I haven't seen them in years.
I've ever seen. Really? There's like we watched this for Invade the Decade probably I don't know 3-4 years
Which
ago.
one?
The first one. And
That's
they're-
actually the
I don't
best
think
one.
I don't think I've ever seen the first one.
The first one's the best one
and
by
they're
far.
just the mayor's a woman,
Right.
and just she's just trying to crack down of let's be a little more responsible. And they just unironically, there's no joke there. They keep going the fucking lady bitch mayor, the bitch lady mayor. The only time they refer to her was that bitch lady mayor. You're like.
Well, I mean, what if like they didn't like the male mayor? They would have been this dick asshole mayor.
But it was so that wasn't even the point of the scene or the joke.
Yeah.
It was just that anytime they refer to the character, they're like the bitch lady mayor is doing this. We're over here. You're like, this is insane.
There is so much outdated, cringy, homophobic, misogynistic.
Racist.
just
I remember
the
racist,
Blue Oyster.
so racist.
With the black
The Blue
characters
Oyster.
and oh
Yeah,
my
Hightower.
god.
I didn't start watching until Bobcat, which I think was episode like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I
he
watched the ones-
was the villain in number 2, and he came back in number 3
As Zed,
as Zed,
as the cop.
the enrollee.
Yeah. I watched both of those all the time when I was like 10 or
Yeah.
11.
Now, those I haven't
loved
seen. I've just seen one.
Oh,
Okay, I
those
don't
hit
think I've
those
ever
hit
seen the
well when you're 11 or 9 in my case. But man, those are and not just the outdatedness. There's plenty of movies that are outdated in terms of the humor, in terms of cheap jokes. They're really poorly made. They're clunky and they're cheap and they're amateurish. Like it doesn't feel like a professional editor worked on them.
I don't think they put a whole lot because they knew what their audience was, and it's back in a time you have to understand that. Well, sorry, that sounded very condescending, but it was like at a time where Hollywood was very cognizant about like adult movies and like award bait
Who's
movies
going to
and
see
like
this movie?
quality films, and then like
Porky's
the teen and
and-
Porky's
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Jesus Christ, Porky's.
Hard bodies and like there was like a whole run of them where it's just. But then they realized that the kids that really wanted to see those were too young to go see those, so they started making PG movies before PG-13 too. So it was just schlock that would fill the seats with kids who didn't notice a bad edit and didn't give a fuck. So there's almost something charming about
That's
it today
interesting.
because they
That's
don't
an
really
interesting
make
point of view.
movies like that now.
Yeah. Anyway,
Because we're all such helicopter parents, we don't let our kids just go unattended to movies, right? We're all sitting there watching them with them, and they better have something for the adults as well.
it's funny because I can nostalgically enjoy some of the Police Academy movies. Like, oh, I remember that joke, or how ridiculous that was, or House. Like the black guy was so fat that they called him House. But they're not good movies.
Remember the part in the third one where Zed, Bobcat was my entire edit. That's all I cared about.
He was the star of the show.
He was fucking the best. Like he stole every scene he was in, and he had this. I don't. You haven't seen it.
I don't think so.
He's got. I think he's with the little guy,
That's Kazurinsky.
the little guy,
Yeah, Tim
Kazurinsky.
Kazurinsky. Oh, sorry, that's the actor's name. Sweet Chuck.
Sweet Chuck. Yeah. And it's like night, and he's on a night patrol, and he's supposed to just be like patrolling with his flashlight, but he's Zed. He doesn't do what the man tells him to do. So he talks. It might be Sweet Chuck. Might not be. I think it was Sweet Chuck. He's like, watch this. I got a plan. I got a plan. And he that's what he sounded like.
Wait, I watched this scene earlier today.
Today
I
you
can
did.
tell you what will happen.
Was it Sweet Chuck? It was Sweet Chuck, right?
What happened?
It's hilarious. This is great.
Wouldn't you know? What?
Why were you watching Police Academy 3 today?
I was watching
He's about to
scenes.
change his mind again.
He might have to.
to change.
This is a hilarious scene.
Wouldn't you guess? The two guys who don't like each other end up as roommates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so
Odd couple.
they're paired together as roommates. Poor Sweet Chuck, he's just trying to sleep.
Yeah.
He's just trying to catch some shut eye because they're the first day at the police academy.
Right.
And Zed, he's a maniac. He's an insane person.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's playing the bongos.
Flies
He's
off
playing
the
the
handle.
bongo drums,
Uh-huh.
and he's playing songs that he made up. He's like, I got this one. I used to love her.
He's not a
Ah!
Muppet. Yeah, that's how all
Yeah,
songs sound. They all
exactly.
sound kind of
And
similar.
pounding on the drums,
Yeah.
and then two of the actual cops come in who are running the police academy,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Hey, you guys are up past curfew. Come with us."
You gotta go
and
on
they make
patrol.
them go outside, and they say, "You must pick up every scrap of paper, every cigarette butt,
Right, they got to clean.
everything you find in this
comb.
whole field here." And we're gonna be up there, and they point upstairs, 5th floor. We're gonna be up there
Looking
watching
out the
you.
window.
And they hand him a flashlight. If these flashlights stop moving,
Yeah.
you guys are in deep shit. And so Zed, being the smart thinker that he is, smart good thinking.
Uh-huh.
He
Quick, some good
yeah,
code
we
thinking.
smash cut to Zed and Sweet Chuck just kicking it.
Enjoying themselves under the tree.
Just kicking it under a tree, and Sweet Chuck, being the nervous little fellow, that he is like, Zed, are you sure this is gonna work? And just like, yeah, man, look, it's working. And we cut to two dogs playing,
And the flashlights are dead.
and we get a perspective shot from the cop.
Like they're the most pure, quick. They are going so fast looking for trash. So these cops are like really impressed with how quick they're because the dogs are playing. It was really funny. Fuck you for having this on your list.
It is
At
moving.
number one.
The flashlights are moving at the speed of a lightsaber duel in fast forward.
The cops are so dumb. They're like,
And they do the great thing in the 80s where they look at each other like, whoa, these guys are really moving. Cut to Zed and Sweet Chuck's just watching these dogs play with lights strapped to them.
all right. Yeah. See, I remember that. That's okay. Number one
I'm
for me.
saying it, we're talking about the same scene.
1998. This is kind of a layup for me, and I've brought this up. It might have even been on the other list.
Sweet Chuck.
Big fan of the Coen Brothers. Love most everything they do. I heard they had a new comedy coming out because they go back and forth with the Noir and the comedy. But Big
I've heard
Lebowski,
this.
Big Lebowski was supposed to be very funny. Very excited. Saw it
It
opening
was
day,
also the follow-up to Fargo.
and boy was I disappointed with the humor in the Big Lebowski. I walked out thinking like, well,
Can't win them all.
they might not have it anymore. I remember the theater I was in. I remember the arrogance that I had. And I was like, yeah, I don't even know if I love the Coen Brothers anymore. Like maybe it's just like they're a thing of the past. And I know exactly why. I know why, and it's because there's so much storyline going on with the Big Lebowski. Talk about confusing. Like there's a lot of shit going on.
I don't think anyone likes it genuinely
Yeah,
the
that's
first
a
time
classic. Didn't
because
like it the first time.
you're trying to pay attention to what's happening
and follow the
and it's
storyline.
impossible, and you feel like an idiot.
Brant's the only character, the only funny scene that I the first time around. I absolutely loved Philip Seymour Hoffman's scene.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, and I was mad to see him go away. Like he doesn't come back, and well until the very end. But yeah, it's because you're trying to follow with Bunny and like the toe and
Yeah.
all that, but then going back, it's like fucking glory.
Oh, I've seen it probably 10 times. I to this day could not tell you what happens in them. I could not tell you the story or who
Oh,
did
yeah, you
what.
could. I'm
Plus,
sure
a
you
lot-
could.
it's-
I really don't know if I could.
It's a big red herring.
The plot doesn't really matter.
But I can
It's
tell you
just-
every scene, but I have no idea what the plot is.
You know what I was thinking about just this week with thinking about this pick, and that's thank God I went back to revisit it, and I didn't. There's a lot of people out there, and who would probably watch this once, have the same reaction, and be like, "No, fuck it, that movie's not for me. It's not funny. I don't know why people think it's funny." Because you gotta, especially with something.
Yeah.
The Jesus, right? Which, sorry if you're listening and you're one of the people that thinks that's the best part of the movie, and it's not by far and away. It's not. Like
It's funny, but there's almost everything else is funnier.
yeah, if you watch it over and over
Yeah.
and over again, you get the nuances, and the Jesus was kind of like just put in there like,
My favorite is still
like lascivious humor.
when he's in Jackie Treehorn's house and Jackie Treehorn is writing something down on a pad and then he takes it. And
For no reason at all.
And
Just-
and then he goes off to whatever,
Do
take a
it.
call.
And he does
the
his
dude
PI work.
And the dude does the first smart thing he's done in the movie where he thinks, oh, if I do this sketch over it,
Yeah.
then I can see what he wrote down. And then he does it, and it's just a guy with a big dick.
It
No, it's
plays
just, it's
nowhere.
just a dick, right?
And
He
yeah,
just looks at it. He's like, what?
And he's so confused. And then Jackie Treehorn comes back and needs to run back to his seat and spills his drink and sits down.
And then he gets drugged.
It's just so brilliant and so throwaway. I don't know how you.
That's exactly
even
what
think of that?
I'm bringing up to Jesus for that exact reason. Like, you pull Jesus out, like, is he in there for any reason at all? Like, there's no reason for the Jesus to be in there.
I think maybe to bring in Turturro because they wanted to have him in there.
Well, I mean, I understand like that, but I'm talking about
Sure.
storylines as
No.
far as the
Plot,
script. Like,
No.
he doesn't drive the plot. Like, it's a giant rule break as far as script writing. Like, you're not supposed to have things like that in there. The Jackie Treehorn like dick thing, at least it's a gag, it's a joke, right?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like, there's no, and they have flashback sequences with the Jesus. Like, there's no need for him to be in there. You know, Turturro made a movie all about the Jesus.
Yeah, wasn't it horrible?
I never saw it, but apparently it wasn't well received. But yeah, The Big Lebowski is like the greatest example I have of my own movie going experiences as far as movies that I change my mind on. Wow, it's my favorite comedy of all time. And
So let me pose this to you: has it gone in terms of the public zeitgeist? Has it gone from underrated to overrated?
Yeah,
Because now
probably.
they have like dress up, watch along.
yeah, I went to a live, I think at the Newark years ago, and I was really annoyed when people stood up and they were doing like the Rocky Horror thing.
Yeah.
And they had giant scissors made out of cardboard. And they were running. I'm too much of a misanthrope to go along with that kind of thing. I just get annoyed. Plus, people seem to respond to like the fantasy sequences, which I don't really.
I think is the worst
have
part.
time for.
Yeah.
I wish that they didn't have that. I wish that they would use those resources for more other kind of comedy.
Yes.
I don't.
I want to
need-
know more about Audubon.
Maybe a little more Autobahn. Yeah, I would like more of them. They almost made a list for top 5 Germans. I had to do some research, but
Yeah, very good.
yeah, I'm
Nice.
glad that we line up on this, and I'm not crazy as far as.
No, I'm the same way. I think it was on my. I know I gotta look it up.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if
Rewatches.
it's possible. I would be skeptical if anybody who watched it the first time went, I loved that.
Yeah.
Because unless you know that, unless somebody's told you that, hey, don't try to figure out what's happening. Just
It's
appreciate
crazy though, because when I watch it now, it's like, how was I not finding Walter just one of the greatest
Yeah.
characters I've ever seen? And like, he was just like there, like, okay, he's annoying kind of, and like loud, and
Donnie and
yeah, and Donnie was like, I guess it's kind of funny, but I want more from Steve Buscemi, like, because Goodman was still kind of like, he's a
Yeah.
TV actor, like, why is he getting all these,
Yeah.
and I couldn't have been more wrong. Did it bomb? I don't even know if it bombed.
I think it was underwhelming. Yeah, it was a number 5 on top 5 movies you didn't like the first time, aka rewatches, which we did back in September of 2015.
and they're on record saying they don't really understand
Yeah,
why
I was
it's
just
so
going to
big,
bring
right?
that up. Like they're kind of mystified and dumbfounded as to why there's like conventions built around it and stuff. They don't quite understand it themselves. Which I don't know if they're just being modest or.
Or I could see that of just, I don't know, we struck a chord that we thought it was funny and interesting.
And it's
and-
the characters that
Yeah.
the dude, the juxtaposition. Ultimately, it is like a buddy film, right? With
Yeah.
Walter and the dude. That's what really drives it. And that's
yeah,
what,
you have to buy their relationship, otherwise the movie doesn't work.
and I do. I mean, they couldn't be more different, but there are many relationships that are out there, and I love it. I fucking love it.
Donnie was a great man and a great bowler. Just shaking the can.
I've seen that and I've read it.
Like
That's-
many men of his generation. Caught down too soon.
the fact that he's based on a
I'm sorry,
real,
dude. Sorry, dude.
real life guy too, that is a name out there in Hollywood it just makes it even. He's one of the greatest characters ever. All right, let's hear from the listeners.
Him talking to There Will Be Blood would be amazing.
Can you imagine the
Oh
two of
my
them just
God.
yelling at you? Well, there'd be very, very different tones, right?
Speaking of which, so there weren't a ton of votes for the same movie, but the ones that did get it were
Plainview.
number 2 was There Will Be Blood,
Oh,
and number 1 was Big Lebowski.
what? There's only 2?
Yeah, because
they're
it
not
was very
consensus.
personal. There wasn't.
Oh
a
yeah,
huge
there wasn't like a.
consensus. But Mitch cherry picked a couple fun entries. So Z in Oregon on Facebook
Never heard of them.
said, with a rare disliked it on second viewing, Spaceballs. I thought it was the funniest movie of the 80s, but seeing it as a 40-year-old man, I
realized it's the
realized
funniest
how
movie
many
of
of the
all time.
jokes are first draft hacky puns.
Boo.
It's funny because there's a character called Jabba the Hutt, and we've got a character called Pizza the Hutt.
Fuck that movie so hard. I don't understand why it was ever considered funny, even by children. I just don't get it.
Pizza the Hut's great because his henchman is eating him as he melts. And he goes, "You're delicious." It's good stuff. And then at one point he threatens Lone Star, not Han Solo, Lone Star, by saying, "Or else pizza is going to send out for you." Is a threat.
I didn't even like it as a kid.
I don't. Yeah, neither did I.
It was
don't
prime
understand.
demo. I
Might-
saw when
might
I
be-
was 10,
might be
and I
good-
went,
might be a
I
watch
I
along.
love Mel Brooks as a man. I just don't really respond to his humor.
Where can I stream this?
I just saw the producers for the first time ever, like
Still haven't seen it.
a few months ago. I love the premise, but it's like it's not for me. Not for me.
Blazing Saddles is fun. But man,
I need to
that's,
revisit. That's another
that
one that I
is
should probably
problematic. Chad Utke.
I like Kentucky Fried Movie more.
Pop star never stopped stopping.
Oh.
Never stopped, never stopping.
What, you liked it and then didn't like it? What's up?
Really didn't like it on my first
Oh, okay,
viewing.
thank God.
But it's become one of my go-to comedies to watch over the past 5 years.
So good.
Spaceball is streaming on AMC.
Oh, great. I cannot look at AMC now. I know where not to find
Oh,
it.
that'll be our next watch along.
And then Ted516 on Threads. Yes. First Threads submission.
Oh, Threads. Are we on Threads?
Wait,
yes,
Threads? What's
we are.
Threads?
Threads. It's the Instagram Twitter killer.
It's
Zuckerberg made one to kill
Facebook's
Twitter.
new Instagram or Twitter clone.
Just launched this week, last week.
I never heard of it.
Very recent.
Never heard of it.
It's literally in the past 7 days.
Threads? And who is it?
Threads. It's from Facebook.
Like,
Zuckerberg.
as
it's
in
Meta?
and
It's
it's
Meta.
nice Threads.
Oh my God. I'm totally going to be on Threads now because I am so into Zuck.
Hey, nice Threads.
And yes, he said Big Lebowski. He went from it's a pretty funny movie to this is the greatest comedy I've ever seen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know what to
That's
say
very
about Threads, but can we just all be like fucking adults and be like, hey, look, this is a good way to communicate publicly, and we can do little pictures, and why do we have to like treat it like it's fucking clubs, right? Like, oh, we're all going over here now. You old people stay over there. Oh, now we're all heading over here.
Or maybe we don't have to hear each other at all.
Maybe that.
Maybe if I've
Wouldn't that
never
be
met you,
best?
I don't need to hear you.
I don't need to hear. I don't need to hear from my people from my past who I don't talk to anymore for a reason.
No.
I don't need to see what they're doing now.
No.
And it's real sketchy when I see like their political views and the things that they're saying. It's like, I don't need. There was a Kmart in my hometown
This is a good start.
that I go visit my parents, and my mom would like have me go run some errands for her at the Kmart. And I went there once, and I saw like 3 people that I went to high school with. And it was like before Facebook, right? And I was like, I don't need to. Like one of the girls who was like, she was Candy, like in school. Her name was Candy, and she was, it was a.
I don't
It
know
was
where
an
you're
apt
going with
name.
this.
The name
Okay.
fit. Like she was like that, and she was haggard with like 3 kids hanging off of her.
Oh my.
And she wanted to talk to me, and I was like, I don't need to see my peers being old.
I don't need evidence that I'm dying.
Yes,
need to
I
know
know.
about this,
That was
Candy.
my first taste of it, and that's what Facebook is like all the time. When I look at it, it's like, every now and again, like if I have to go on there and I'll see like somebody from my past, I'm like, holy shit.
So I got Eddie's Antiques.
When
over
you
on
haven't
Facebook.
seen somebody since like 7th grade, and then you see them as a 50-year-old man, it's jarring.
I'm always delighted.
And just the,
Hey, what
over,
have you been up to?
the oversharing. Jesus Christ.
I don't read. I just go. Okay. Go.
It's always a delightful experience seeing someone from your past.
What are you talking about?
I enjoy meeting up with people who I haven't seen in a long time.
Really?
Maybe that's just me.
That is you. I like present. I mean, I live with a present, Brian. I don't
Understood.
need to look
Hey,
back.
check out Eddie's Antiques on Facebook.
Yeah. I'm talking about the past. It's all stuff from the mid-century modern times, and Jill's and I have been crushing it in the last couple weeks.
Nice.
We've been finding some really, really cool
You
finds.
landed some good stuff.
Yeah, it really is good quality stuff from that era, and we've been very lucky just recently getting some really, really good
I've
finds.
bought stuff. Yeah.
Have you seen it? Were you able to find it, Brian, on
I
Facebook
was.
Marketplace?
We're both right.
Jillian busts her ass doing it, and I help.
Anything from the Pittsburgh area?
We got to go to Pittsburgh.
From Latrobe?
No, go ahead. I don't know what you're just talking about. Like something from like a few weeks ago that I barely even remembered.
Well, that's a really fine how do you do to your
Pierce is the one who like helped us, but I go, I don't know why you'd be bringing this to the program right now.
Because that was a wild story. All right, let's hear our gambling, right? And get out of
Gambling, yes. Last week, Gamble on Joyride. Anderson gets 88, Brian 87.
Oh,
With 138 reviews, the actual
You said
Rotten
90.
Tomato
here. I
score
don't like this.
is 91,
so
making Anderson the winner.
like, what is night? I guess you know what? I guess if you're doing thumbs up or thumbs down, I mean, I could see more people giving thumbs
Yeah.
up. You know, I don't know about 90, but because there are a lot of clunkies, a lot of clunkers in there, and a lot of like tonal issues and what.
Yeah.
But that said,
I think we
mean,
all
it's-
agree it's a good movie.
Yeah, I
Above
guess
average, at least.
it seems a little high. But what are you gonna do? All right, comedies are tough, right?
And how?
Yeah. Big Lebowski did not like. Maybe I'll love Joyride the next time I see
Maybe.
it. Maybe there's just too much going on. I couldn't follow along. Wait. She's looking for her birth mother.
I never knew.
Confused.
All right, let's hear. What are we gambling on this?
I did like the cameo. That was kind of a cameo. If you're a certain fan of a certain
Sure.
show, he was great
I know where you're going
at
with
the
this.
end. If you ever watched Lost, did I say too much?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think it was a cameo.
Cameo to people who watch
The
Lost.
basketball
Religion.
player was a cameo.
I don't. He's an actual. I guess
Oh,
he does
really?
look familiar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the goofiest scene of the whole.
famous. That
Like, they
was
had-
my thing. Is like, is this dude play?
You know, if they put like cartoon stars over their head, going like
Yeah,
like with like some birds flying, like Tweety birds.
Yeah, like Roger Rabbit.
I thought Pussy. Remember that?
Yeah, that was
Tweety
was
said-
actually
yeah.
Tweety Bird. There's a
Full
a
vagina.
basketball player of yesteryear who makes an appearance as a.
What's his name? Something with an R, right?
Should I just say?
I'm not a basketball
It's not- I
fan.
don't think it's much of a reveal. Baron Davis
Oh, I thought it was
is
someone with an
a
R.
character in the movie as Baron Davis, but he's playing in China. That guy's like 50 years. That guy's fucking 55 years old.
They get second.
How long did Baron Davis play?
I have no idea. I'm not a basketball
Oh,
guy.
really? Oh, I
Yeah.
just assumed because you were you.
Racist.
What the fuck?
You don't know Baron
He's a
Davis?
baseball fan.
Yeah, but he was a okay. Wow, probably the only one of Baron Davis. How old was Baron Davis?
Wait, why would you think that Avery knows that? And why are you?
He was a well-known basketball player back in the day. Played for
Why are
the
you not
Warriors.
asking me?
Because I saw the
though?
league.
Because you've never brought up basketball once.
Different sport. Because I've talked about my love of Danny Ainge and.
Danny Ainge. You know what? Baron Davis played with Danny Ainge.
All right, let's go.
No, he's 44. He's my age. Fuck.
Lambeer,
You
come
know,
on.
he can still play.
Let's go.
Sorry.
This week, we're gambling on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning
Mm.
Part 1.
I have a confession to make. I'm aware. I saw an ad.
Yeah, you can't escape it.
They're pumping it pretty.
Oh, they're tomato.
They're certified fresh.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think it's
that means
over.
over 70.
I think it's over 80.
No.
Is it?
I
Okay,
have
what?
the answer, so I
Okay.
can't.
You know what then? I don't even know, and you don't even know. Just take that for what it's worth. They're advertising they're certified fresh.
So if I said 5, that'd be bad. That'd be stupid, bro.
You know that it should be over at least 70.
So 8 would be like a bad one. to do?
88 would
Oh,
be
okay.
10 would be a safer bet than 8.
And they're just saying fresh, or they're showing the actual score.
I only saw the certified fresh logo, or the whatever it is, the icon.
Okay.
So take that for what it's worth. Maybe it's barely hanging on.
Everything we've heard from our listeners has been it's not very good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's told us that?
Every listener on you don't listen to Fanfliction because you're self-involved, but yeah, they've been saying for a couple. We've been hearing
For
from
Mission
listeners.
Impossible.
Yeah, we've been hearing from listeners who have seen advanced screenings, which they've been doing around the country for the last couple of weeks now, and they're saying it's just kind of a mess and it's long.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta adjust my score then.
All right, you ready to go?
Have we really gotten fanflections about that? I don't remember that once. Oh, you motherfucker. So I'm like, because I do sometimes like look at my notes and stuff during fanfliction, but like I'm like, Mission Impossible.
I hooked you.
You really did. I got off the line.
That was the nibble.
I was so
You're
excited
3
about.
seconds away from having him.
I know. So I winked at Avery. I was so excited. I felt like an old man. Like I'm gonna get this young fella.
You had me for a second.
You almost did.
really
All right, let's go.
All right. Now I got to
If you would have said that, you would have had him. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, I guess it's bad.
All right. I got a number.
So do I.
1. Are you writing something down? Can I look?
Go ahead.
Do the scribbles.
That's my signature.
Is it a penis?
That is my signature right there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's how I sign shit, and it works.
Yeah, I do something very similar.
It's because I had to sign things 20 times a night on Loveline for like 10 years, and your
Why?
signature when I was doing copy
Oh, like
for,
log
for
or
logs,
whatever.
yeah. 20 times a night I had to do it, and it's like your signature
Outrageous.
suffers. Now it's just Rorschach. It's
Rorschach.
it's actually what do you call it? The seismic.
Oh, a seismograph.
Yeah. Let's go. Come on. I got a number.
1.
2. 96.
96. Oh,
Verse 69.
they're back to back.
I think this is one of these movies that people know exactly what it
96.
is. You saw what happened with goddamn the old Top Gun over there, Old Navy.
Sure.
That's what that should movie should be called.
that is good.
Well done.
Old Navy.
That
I
should have
want to
called
see
Old
that
Navy.
listener art.
Old Navy. People know what Tom Cruise does. I think they're finally going, you know what? This
Okay.
guy is, he is Tom Cruise. We've been talking for years
Right.
how his name is bigger than his actual, his name precedes him, but
Yeah.
he's a real talent. And people are really, and all of our listeners, yes,
All right.
have been saying that it's hitting the mark.
I really was like, I don't remember that once.
You guess 90, right?
Yeah,
Brian?
90.
Anderson gets 96. Brian gets 90. The with 176 reviews, the current Rotten Tomatoes score is 98%.
Holy shit.
What?
How many?
That's what I've been seeing on the trailers. They were going 99% on
Oh.
Rotten
I've not
Tomatoes.
seen a
I've
single
only
trailer
They
for
dropped
this.
it to 98%. So that's what they've been showing.
They were saying 100.
They're 99,
They were 99.
Wow. No, I just saw like an
I promise you, I have not seen.
which
a
is why I
single
was
trailer
saying
for
it'd
this
be
movie.
insane for you not to see this movie.
I have not seen a single trailer for this movie. I promise you that. But I've been
There's-
hearing
there's
things.
still-
But I haven't seen it in theaters. I've been seeing it like little banners on Reddit and shit like that. Where
The
they were
difference with this one
98%.
in Indiana is like I did not want to see Indiana.
Is this
like,
as
just
good?
let him go to bed. You know what I mean? Like
The man's
stop.
tired.
He looks just like it feels like they're dragging it out. This one, it's a different story. Like it feels like there's energy. He wants to do this.
And they're
they
still
want
at the
to do
peak
that.
of their movie making
Yeah.
ability. It hasn't fallen off. If anything, they've just kept getting better.
Like
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Exactly. I would agree.
All right, let's get out of here.
Wow, 98.
98.
With 170 something.
76, yeah.
Fuck. All right, well, it could drop.
This might crack the Balties.
It could drop 5 points.
Will not crack the fault.
What if you love it?
Well, can you look up? I'll look it up.
Oh, and also I Googled it. In May of this year, it came out. FBI thinks the identity of the Zodiac killer was Air Force veteran Gary Francis Post.
You fucker, Post.
So they do, as of 2 months ago, they think they found him.
wow,
He died
just
in
2 months
2018.
ago.
He died
Just
in
2 months
2018,
ago.
but yes. Partial DNA match.
How about
Does the name Pork Pie mean anything to you?
that? Actually,
Vaguely.
like
Pork
there's
pie.
a pork pie hat.
Pork
You ever heard of
Pie.
a pork pie hat?
Chimp's name. A chimp's name. Pork Pie.
I
No.
don't believe so.
Chimp Empire on Netflix. My wife is watching it,
Oh,
and I'm in and
Christ.
out of the room.
I heard it was brutal.
It's fucking brutal. It is
Why?
brutal, but it's fascinating.
What's brutal about it?
It's showing chimp life, and guess what? Chimp life is pretty
Oh,
goddamn brutal.
Chimps are dicks.
Chimps are total dicks, and they're the amount of like politics and sociology that goes on with them. Is,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're
That's
fake.
that's a pork pie hat.
They're cooking some stuff for the sake of the storyline. And
Sure.
I think they're probably cheating here and there, but my God, is it good? From what I pick up, I don't have the stomach for it. I can't watch Gus get excommunicated or pork pie. Oh, it's so sad.
Listener art is excellent this week from
Chimp Empire.
Regular contributor Jonathan Oxhorn. I imagine this has a little basis in reality. Did you look at it?
No, I'm kidding. All right, keep going, Brian.
It's enjoyable. I laughed a couple times. Good stuff, Jonathan Oxhorn. Thank you for downloading and listening, everyone. Burning Avalanche is our featured artist. Check them out. Anderson and Bryan.
I mean, you got to listen really closely to get this joke. The last one.
That's why it's great.
It's based on a pause. It's based on a beat.
Did I actually say it like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's based on a beat you took.
It's very inside.
You know, I was in a green room with Alyssa Milano's mom, who was about to go out on stage for a TV show on a panel to like talk against
Right.
what my friend Derek Newman, who's a lawyer who got the Pamela Anderson did. Long story short, I was back in the green room and I heard the two of them arguing, and that's why it's always kind of stuck in my mind. Like, Alyssa Milano should be out there making movies because she's great, not like on this. All right.
All right.
That was
Check
a
out
weird,
Burning
like-
Avalanche.
Like, that was her identity for a while. I was like, take my face off of these porn models because it's not me, guys. Seriously, it's before
Drop.
deepfakes.
Got that drop, Avery. All right, check out our good stuff over at Patreon/The Film Vault, Patreon.com/The Film Vault. We just did a little spoiler talk on Indiana Jones and something else. I forgot.
We do it regularly.
Yes.
Regularly.
Bonus. I imagine there will be some talk of Mission Impossible.
Let's do that
Maybe.
next week.
If it warrants. The Amazon banner continues to be there, and we continue to get a slightly higher payout on Amazon for the next week or so. So please make that your shopping destination. If that's your thing.
Next week we'll be talking to Stalker, 1979 Stalker. Thanks to Ryan Regenball. This notes have been taken. Things will be discussed. And I will talk to Ryan and figure out what he was hoping we would glean from Stalker.
Anderson and Bryan.com is the website. Anderson and Bryan on Instagram. Anderson and Bryan on TikTok. The Film Vault on Facebook and Twitter. And The Film Vault Podcast on YouTube, where Eric Kath does great work. Thanks for helping out with the show, man. Mike Cole, appreciate you. Mitch Burns, Giovanni, couldn't do it without you. We're all good here?
Yeah.
Did we not record?
No, I just thought it was an earthquake.
All right, good. No, I didn't feel anything.
I thought we were under attack.
Really?
Yeah.
You really felt anything?
No, I didn't feel anything, but Anderson was made me nervous.
Anderson looked like a...
This happened. You guys didn't hear that?
No, you look like a puppy that, like, all of a sudden the doorbell rang. And you're like, what?
That's my go-to look.
All right, thanks, everyone. Until next time.
We do it for Van Gogh.